Sifu Rafael is the founder and host of Heroes Rising. He's hungry, driven, and bright. He's used his skills to develop a variety of multifaceted businesses in the martial arts and fitness industry. He's also a business and mental game coach and host of the Coaching Call podcast. Heroes Rising is proud to introduce you to our exceptional co-host, EA Csolkovits. EA created, designed, invented, formulated, and reformulated over 75 products in the health and wellness industry. He is the founder of Givers University, providing increased happiness, freedom, and greatness through personal, business, social, and family development. He is also a licensed commercial pilot.
Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us on Heroes Rising. Today I have a special co-host because my regular co-host has another function. And Rick, my gosh, thank you so much for stepping in. And you know, it's tough to fill. I don't even know if I can fill EA's shoes. He wears big shoes.
It is impossible to fill his shoes, but I will do my best to be a good co-host for you.
Oh no, you're exceptional, and you know, I had a pleasure of meeting you not too long ago in person.
That's
right. We've met over the phone and videos and all that, but in person, you're exceptional, my friend, and I'm so happy that you decided to say yes. So we have two amazing people. Let me bring them on. We have Eric. Eric, welcome, and we have Aidela. Aidela, welcome to Heroes Rising. I am super excited. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on with you, Eric, and then later you'll tell us a little bit.
Yeah. So, God, we're getting towards the end of the year. If you really want to know what I'm getting excited about, my theme is really this idea of helping people redefine success. And we'll talk a little bit about that's kind of my presentation today, redefining success for higher ROI.
Right.
And as we get towards the end of the year, I'm a big believer in setting goals and thinking about what are we going to accomplish for 2023. And so I'm really at this point kind of turning my eye towards how do not only get myself ready, but get those that I coach and consult with and really help them get ready for the best 2023 that they can have. That's where my mindset is right now.
I love it. Aidela, tell us what's going on with you.
Well, when I thought about tying in with today's conversation, I also thought of ROI, so I'm super excited when we start digging in, because it will all fall into sync for me. I'm an executive coach and I'm a transformational leader from the aspect of just speaking very boldly and speaking my truth and coming forward with what I believe is the most important topics in today's world, really.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm super excited. You know, let me start by introducing Eric. Eric, my gosh, he was on my show and we had a blast, didn't we?
We did. We had a great time.
Yeah. Eric is an author. He's a speaker. He's a consultant. He's a serial entrepreneur and he's a philanthropist. And that's what really got me excited about talking to Eric. But he's also been in the finance services industry for over 2 decades, right?
Yep.
Eric, you know, you've been featured in so many media outlets such as the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, you know, all these business insiders. You've worked with top wealth advisors. You have really changed the way that some families look at legacy. And we talked about that on my show. And I am passionate about what you're doing. And I know you're passionate about what you're doing.
Just a little.
Just a little, right? I think you're a lot. So I am so thrilled to have you share with us. So go ahead, my friend. Share.
Yeah. So let me start with a story. I think is the best place to start. It's almost 4 years ago, and it's March. But I need to take you back to February really quick because in February's time, I had spent 20 of 28 days on the road traveling. And during that time, like I had a lot of good reasons for why I was there. I would tell you, like 4 of those days were taking my oldest son on college tours. So I had a lot of good reasons for everything that I was doing. My business was in a time, it was really kind of a struggle, and I was out grinding and trying to grow my business and make things happen. And I'm standing in California with a gentleman who now has become a really good friend of mine named Sam Felsafi. And he poses this question to me. He says, Eric, why do you hate your family? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just want to know why you hate your family. You were on the road for 20 of 28 days last month. I've never known a man who was on the road for 20 of 28 days that didn't hate his family. And I am, that's a sucker punch, right? That's a gut check. Because I didn't hate my family, but I was caught up in the pursuit of ROI, return on investment, right? I was caught up on this in a way that even I was trapped in my own. I needed someone to disrupt what I was doing, right? To disrupt my thinking. Right. And there's a longer story that goes with this, and I'll get to that when we get more towards the end. But that was my wake up call. That was my moment to just say, you know what I'm doing is not working. So the title that I use a lot is I'm the mindset disruption strategist. I believe that it's the mindsets that we get stuck into that need to be disrupted. And so my favorite motto is, if it's not broke, break it. And it was through this season I learned to break my life down. I learned to break things down. But it was really, I started looking at my own life, the life of others, even the life of things that were already, it's kind of crazy. Like, have you ever found yourself doing things in your business, but not applying them to yourself? Right? You're telling other people to do all these things and then realizing that you're caught up in your own noise and the things that are going on out there. And so that was me. And I really started taking a hard look at what does return on investment, what does the pursuit of a life of return on investment mean? Because so many people are chasing this down. And when I really started looking closer at it, this is what I discovered. Almost every single time someone would talk to me about return on investment or ROI, I would go to a place of either fear or greed. Fear that I was going to miss out on something, fear that something might slip through my hands, fear that I would not live up to what I needed to do, or greed that I wouldn't have enough, greed that, oh my goodness, how do I get more and more and more? And I was like, am I the only person dealing with this? And I started just reflecting on things that have happened in the world and things that go on. And I don't know if you know this or not, but John D. Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men who had ever lived, was asked the question, how much is enough? And his response was, well, just a little bit more. And that's what I was like, oh, this is what the world talks to us, is an entire fear and greed mindset. And then I realized, okay, so what does fear and greed do to me? Well, fear and greed pushes me into a mindset of scarcity. I'll never have enough, right? It'll never be enough, which then pushes me into a mindset of everything that I have, I must protect. And if you're in this mindset of, oh my goodness, I've got to protect everything, where does that throw you back to? It throws you back to fear and greed. It is this vicious loop that I discovered that this pursuit of return on investment was causing. And I was like, okay, so what would life look like if it was different? What would I want more of? And it's where I discovered this ROI principle that I really teach now, which is return on intention. And here's what I discovered. Here's the punchline of it is, return on intention actually is peace. It's starting from a place of peace and understanding that everything, how can I be in complete contentment with where I am right now? And when you have complete contentment, all of a sudden your mindset shifts from scarcity to prosperity. And how do I see the opportunities that are around me? And how do I look? I mean, here's something that was even more interesting when you think about, scarcity and protection. The entire world is trying to sell me solutions that will keep me in fear and greed. They're trying to sell me products that will keep me in that place that benefit them. When I'm coming from a place of peace and I have a solutions mindset and I'm looking at this from prosperity, now all of a sudden I am in control of what I'm adding into my life. I'm not letting other people come in and tell me how to add things to my life. And then what I realized, you were talking about the philanthropy side of this, is when I have peace and when I have prosperity, now I can make an even greater impact. And I started looking at what that impact looked like. And I was like, okay, this return on intention, go back to if it's not broke, break it, completely flips things and turns it on its head. And so With that, there are 4 components that I've found make up return on intention. But here's the punchline. I'm gonna give everybody the punchline before we get to the end. What I discovered is return on intention was actually better return on investment. Like everything that I wanted inside of return on investment, I got that and more when I pursued return on intention. And so here's what it looks like. It's really turning your entire life upside down. And what it does is it's 4 ROIs. And the first one is, what is your faith ROI, or what is your return on impact? And as a follower of Christ and as a believer in that, one of the things, and this is not unique to just the Christian faith, but a lot of different faiths. I mean, you start out with the fact that if God created everything, God is a creator. And the unique thing is God created us in his image. So therefore, God created us to create. So guess what? I'm a creator. So my natural place when I understand my faith ROI and my return on impact is I was created to create. So especially as a business owner, how do I plug into that creation mindset every single day? And that becomes the most important thing. And here's what I found, though. There are actually one question that will change your life, but there's 3 different ways to ask it that will determine how that goes. So the first question is, what do I want to do with all the blessings and everything that I've been given? The second version of that question is this: what do I want to do with the things that God has placed into my hands? That's a better version of the question. The third and most vital version of that question, though, is what does my creator want me to do with what he's placed in my hands? You see the subtle difference? What do I want to do with what's been placed in my hands? Or what does my creator want me to do with what's been placed in my hands? Those are 2 completely different perspectives. Because one begins with this life of, one of those is I'm holding on tight to it. The other is I'm letting go and opening myself up to receive what it is that I've been called to do. And what I found was starting with my faith ROI, my return on impact, and beginning every single day by going, God, what do you have planned for today? What are we doing? Where am I going? And as a type A personality, like I like to have the whole day scheduled. I hate interruptions. What if the interruptions are the path to exactly what you need? And so when you begin with faith ROI, then what you move into next is what I call the focus ROI, or which is return on individual. And what I believe, I love Simon Sinek, but I think one of the most dangerous books in one sense written over the last few years is the book Leaders Eat Last. Because what happens when you have a leader who eats last is you end up with a hangry, unfocused leader. And what we've done is we've told everyone that they need to serve, they need to give back. And what we've forgotten is this idea that we should put ourselves first. Actually, Jesus has a teaching in the scriptures that says, love your neighbor as yourself. And the biggest challenge that I see for most people these days is that they're really, really good at loving their neighbor. They're really, really good at loving their employees. They're really, really good at loving everyone around them. What they're not good at loving is themselves, which means they have nothing to give anyone else. So you spend all day giving and giving and giving to everyone else. You fall into your chair at the end of the night, sedating, watching TV or on your phone or whatever, and completely lost in anything for you. And so the question was, if I start with return on impact, what then if I return into return on individual? What if I put me first? What if I connected with God and then worked on me, worked on my health, worked on my hobbies? I mean, one of the things that I really coach people through is what do you actively do that makes you happy every day? And so many people seem to feel guilty about being happy, but imagine a world in which you're connected to your creator and what he's calling you to do. And next, now you're connected to you. How much more energy do you bring into the office? How much more energy do you bring into the people that you coach? How much energy do you bring into the people that you want to serve when you've got those 2 things aligned first? And then we move into family ROI, which is return on involvement. And how do we get involved relationally with the people that are most important to us at our home, with our families, with our employees even? How do we get into relationship with the people that are going to have the greatest impact on us? There is a proverb written in the scriptures that says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And so many people I found think that that's a money equation. And what I truly believe is that's a relational equation, because more than likely you will only have a relationship with your children and your children's children. And so how do you leave an inheritance of wisdom and of relationship and speaking? And one other thing too, when you talk about this involvement, I mean, if you stop and think about this, this is true. If all you ever leave to the people that you love the most is wisdom, they will probably figure out how to leave money or how to get their own money. If all you leave them is money and no wisdom, how disastrous could that become? So you get aligned with your faith ROI, and then you move into your focus ROI, your individual, and now you're connected involvement, return on involvement, your family and the people that are most important to you. And now what you have is a person who is on fire for life, on fire for accomplishment, and so connected relationally to God, themselves, and the people that matter to them that we can move into financial ROI, which we've all been chasing and pursuing all along, which is return on investment. I've worked with so many business owners, and other people are like, hey, Eric, I've got this business problem, or I've got this thing going on. And my comment to them is, you do not have a business problem. You more than likely have a connection problem. Because every single person I've known that's got connected to God, themselves, and their family has uncovered how to do more in their business. Most people know how to solve their own business problems. They just don't even realize it because they're so clouded in the other areas that are going on. And I'll land this here with two things, because on the financial ROI, it's like, well, Eric, does it really mean more? I'm just going to tell you what I've seen. And the people that I've coached and walked alongside who have been able to unlock this and flip the script. I mean, on average, they're paying 17% less in taxes every year. I work with a lot of business owners who are going through liquidity events. So it's time to sell their business and then move into their next season. Most of them are paying 60% less in capital gains taxes. You're like, okay, that's cool. Less taxes. And we talked about generosity. I mean, here's the numbers. 420% increase in lifetime giving from a generosity standpoint. That's what we've been able to show people how to do. And 1,000% increase in total giving. And all these numbers, this tax savings and this giving and all that, changes nothing about their lifestyle. Changes nothing about the inheritance that they want to leave to their kids. We're just unlocking their minds and their mindset to new possibilities. And the other crazy part is, in addition to saving taxes and giving more money away, most of them are growing their wealth 15% or more every single year while still giving money away. I mean, it's, in one sense, it's just crazy, but it is pursuing the things that matter in the right order. I told you, return on intention is better return on investment. So what did I discover in my own life? This is what happened. I'm standing there in March 3.5 years ago, and he says, why do you hate your family? And then his challenge to me was, go home. I don't want you coming into the office until 10:30 every single day. I want you to spend time connecting with God. I want you to spend time working out. I want you to spend time with your family. And what I discovered was I was the biggest clog in my business. By not coming in until 10:30, my team stepped up, my people stepped up, my ROI inside the business went up, and I was never more connected. And so that lasted for about 2 months, and I got into a new habit and a new rhythm. Most days today, I'm in by 8:30. I mean, it's not something I continued on an ongoing basis, but the habits stayed with me. And so that's what I would desire just for everybody. What I want for everyone else is higher ROI. I want you to experience higher return on intention. But to do that, you're going to have to flip the script.
Wow. Eric, my gosh. I love listening to you, my friend. You just shared so much knowledge in such short time. How do you do it?
You told me I had 15 minutes, so I was like,
I took notes. I take notes. I'm a note taker, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I love to live upside down, thinking about you're a creator, because if you were created in his image, then yes, I love that we are all creators, right?
Yep.
We need to be able to live that life that we want. We should not be jealous of other people, right? And that's a lot of people like, oh, I want what the Joneses have. No, you don't know what the Joneses have. You might not want what the Joneses have, right? A lot of that is so. And then I love your family ROI, because a lot of people are missing that. And the fact that your boss said, stay home, with your family, and wow, what That's someone who was truly connected to making money by focusing on his people.
Yeah.
And that guy was genius. So, yeah. Amen to him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I said I hated him at the moment. He's become a great friend.
So let me introduce you guys. I told you before, EA has been my co-host for a long time. I asked him, but he had to step away. So today we're very fortunate to have an amazing human being, Rick Hughes. He's an executive vice president of Givers University and a mentor to many givers at Givers University. Rick is also president of Magna HR, a multi-office HR firm helping both large and small companies navigate today's HR world. It is a very complex world. Rick, I don't even know how you do it. Rick, you're an accomplished senior executive with expertise in leading human resources, variety of Fortune 1000 firms, both domestic and globally. So you're everywhere, my friend. You have an exceptional talent for proactively partnering with senior leadership to align businesses, strategies while being results driven. You are constantly educating yourself. You are constantly achieving more and more every single day. Rick, tell us, how do you do it, my friend?
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And Eric, I loved your portion. Aidela, I'm looking forward to yours. But Eric, I kept going back to the Solomon when he asked for wisdom. And God said, I'll give you wisdom, but because you didn't ask for riches and wealth, I'm giving you riches and wealth too.
That's exactly right.
And it's like, yep, that's what it being a giver, as we call it, being intentional. I mean, a lot of the things that you've said hits home with me. And a lot of that is, as you everybody on the call has probably experienced, the hardest thing in HR in what I do is there's a lot of people that I have to deal with that don't have the same impressions that I do, don't have the same opinions. So I have to deal with the difficult situations, I'll call them. So it is great to hear Faith getting much more into the conversation. And sometimes, as we know, sometimes it can be a difficult conversation when you try to bring Faith into it. But one of the things that I do want to do is we want to talk about our mentors. And I have been fortunate in my life to have two. One early in my career who helped me was actually my boss for about 5 or 6 years when I was in a corporate HR position. And he helped me to grow my knowledge of not only HR, but of myself. And I always knew that he was a very devout Christian, and he wore it on his sleeve. He made sure that we all knew that he was a devout Christian. Well, unfortunately, in the business world, I've gotten companies get bought and sold all the time. So after about 7 years, we parted ways because the company got sold, and he went one direction, I went the other. But I decided to take some of the earnings that I was fortunate enough to get from the corporate world and put that into an HR consulting business. Because one of the things I realized from what I liked to do is HR is not going to be one of those places that you make a fortune, not going to make $1 million a year working in human resources unless you are fortunate enough to work for one of the huge companies that you can be the chief human resources officer. So I said, well, let me put this business to work and see how I can do, turning it from what in most cases HR or human resources like accounting is a cost center to most companies. And I said, how can I flip that on its head, as Eric would say, and make it into a profit center? So I said, well, let me do it as a business. Let me sell my services. Initially getting into more, I initially made the mistake of getting into too much. I decided I was going to not only be the consultant and the advisor, but I was also going to help them with all of their administrative tasks. And it was the administration that took up too much time. I was going to say about 80 to 90% of our day was spent doing administrative tasks like payroll and benefits. And I said, that's not getting me anywhere. I'm still on the treadmill. How do I get off the treadmill? And that was a difficult decision because it was a good revenue stream to us, but we sold off the administrative portion of the business to some larger company who could do it like an ADP type of company that can do it much better than we can and is already equipped to handle it. So I said, let me just focus on the advising, the counseling, the mentoring of clients, and let me be a little bit more specific about which clients I've already have a relationship with that I could do that for. And so I did that. And finally about 2009, I decided to get rid of part of the business and focus the attention on the other so I could devote more time into what I actually enjoyed doing. And really revenues went up because I was getting paid more for advising and counseling and mentoring more so than I was for, hey, let's do all the day-to-day tasks that need to get done. That wasn't getting me anywhere. So then I was fortunate enough about 7 or 8 years ago to meet my current mentor, who is the other co-host that can't be here today, EA. And when he and I met, we hit it off. We both enjoyed each other, and we started talking about the idea of Givers University. And it was, let me tell you about it and let me see where we can work together and how I can bring some of that information back and incorporate that into the human resources function. So we stayed in touch over the years and we started working, and I realized that he was even more so than my first mentor. EA is very faith driven and encouraged me. And I asked him, how do you do what you do? And he said, I start the day by reading the Bible. That's what I do every day. And he says, and the more I focus on God, the more God focuses back on me. And kind of like what you said, Eric, it's not don't say, what do I need to do today? Ask, God, what do you want me to do today? And sometimes you're surprised and saying, well, that's not what I had in mind. That's not where I was going. But okay, that's where you want me to go. That's where I'm going to go. And that's where EA has been an integral part of my my journey into my faith life. So I know I only have about, say, 5 more minutes. So Rafael, can we go through the slides real fast? I mean, you put them up, I'll go through them. One of the things that we did with Givers was we gave it, Givers actually stands for, we've given each letter a meaning. The G of Givers is to give. Like, again, I hear a lot of what we are doing at Givers in Eric's conversation is that figure out how you can give, because like Solomon, if you give, you will get back multiples of what you give. Like when you said about one of your clients that said, hey, I'm giving and giving, and I'm still ending up with more than I had yesterday. How does that work? Well, part of it is God is saying, hey, congratulations, you're doing it the right way. So give first. So can we go on to the next one? Inspire is the I. What inspires you? And I like it because Eric's all of Eric's eyes. So what inspires you? What gets you up at the beginning of the day? Are you focused on your faith and on God, or where do you need to turn your business around? Or like Eric said, or Rafael also said, turn everything upside down. If it's not working, doing what you're doing, change it. Do something different. Give something else a try. Let's go to the V. I like the V. The V is for vow. So many times in human resources or business in general, how many times have we had somebody make a commitment to us and then fall short on that commitment? Somebody says they're going to show up and they don't show up. Somebody's going to have a meeting with you and they don't call you back. Even worse, somebody enters into a contract with you and then violates it. It's like, when your vows are your vows, your oaths are your oaths, stick to them. if you tell somebody you're going to be there for an 8 o'clock meeting, show up 5 minutes early, not 20 minutes late, or not at all. Be on time. Be somebody that they can rely on. Make a vow and a commitment and an oath. Next one. Educated wisdom. We used to just call this one educated, but we took a little page from Solomon. We like the word wisdom. So educated wisdom, as opposed to, EA always likes to say, how many of us know educated idiots, which are people who are educated, went to school, learned everything, read every book, but have never done it, never owned a business, but they're going to coach you in how to own a business. I always found that interesting. So what was your background? Oh, well, I was a corporate guy for until I just decided that I lost my job and went into coaching. Okay, well, you're not the guy that I want to learn from. I want the guy who has done it, probably failed 1 or 2 times, and come back from that. That's the educated wisdom as opposed to the educated idiot. And a lot of people with educated wisdom never went to school, never went to advanced higher education, never went to college. My mentor and partner, EA, he never went to college, but he is much more successful than anyone I know because he follows the faith path. Next one are results. Everything needs to have results. Everything should be measured. You can't say, I think I'm doing well. I think I've got this. Well, show me. What are your results demonstrating? How are you figuring out that you are successful? Make a goal and stick to it. So that is the acronym for GIVER. There are those 5 areas. And then the last, I think there's probably 2 more slides. One of the things we're getting into is one of the things I really liked about Givers is we are getting into a food wellness area. And one of them is our first product, which will be out in about 6 months, is called Giver. We're calling it Giver Water. And you can see on the screen that there's 2 different flavors. There's an orange flavor, which if you, or Rafael and I have had the fortune of actually taste testing it, is better than the number 1 on the market right now, the Sunny Delight. And then there is a mixed berry on the other side. They're delicious. And what they'll come in is little packets that are powdered. You pour them into an existing bottle, give it a couple of shakes. And now not only do you have hydration, but you have all of the vitamins and minerals that you could need. And basically what we're doing is we're disrupting the vitamin business, because not a lot of people that we know of go at the end of the day say, boy, I can't wait to take all those vitamins that I need to take in the morning. How about if you just have the water with you, have the packets with you throughout the day, instead of taking all the vitamins at one time in the morning? And if I offend anybody, I apologize. We always like to call people who take vitamins what they go through you and you make expensive pee. It's like, okay, that's what's happening to most of the vitamins that you consume, is you're just excreting them in the normal bodily processes. We think it's better to have the waters with you throughout the day, being able to drink them 2 or 3 times a day and get the vitamins and minerals into your system on a regular basis rather than floating up in the morning. So for more information on the Givers program, go to giversuniversity.com. We also have a YouTube channel, and our motto is we are there for wisdom, wealth, and wellness. What I'd like to do right now is turn it over to Aidela. Aidela is visionary foresight in investing. She is a transformational leader and executive coach. She carries an extraordinary ability to visualize organizations at both a macro and a micro level, and she has experience working in global markets. She was formally invited to the White House and has given business opinions on international trade agreements. Aidela, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. Rafael, always super happy.
It's an honor.
So I'm just going to start with the place of, I try to always, like I said, tie in to conversation. And one of the main things that I heard both of you start with was balance. And it was interesting because your presentations and the information and education that you shared brought everything into balance, because one aspect was learning how to love yourself. The other component was learning how to give. And it's interesting because for me, that's part of ROI. And what I've always said and taught as well is return on investment is more an exchange of energy. And I think that we also talked about, like, who is it that is maybe your people, or who's your tribe, or who are the people who are going to keep their vows and maintain their word. These are people who are going to be like, it's all about giving and receiving. And so one of the things is equal and equal exchange of partnership, equal exchange of time and energy. Our time is the biggest investment that we will ever make on the face of the planet. You both touched on faith. I will take that into the realm of belief and believing, because I come from a perspective of whatever it is that somebody references as the word God, or anything that means, light, love, all of the higher, I'm going to take it into the realm of science now, neuroscience, brainwave patterns, frequencies. Interestingly enough, those happen to be some of the things you're talking about. So higher brainwave patterns are joy, bliss, love, all of those things. It's true that you cannot bring yourself into a place of calm and balance, which is optimum for our overall well-being. And that's why the two of you also are touching on mindset, because that also touches on balance. And I oftentimes, especially with engineers and some of my more scientific clientele, will equate it to like a pyramid. And I'll tell people conscious mind in neuroscience for me actually means your spirit. And the thing that needs to be driving our entire overall state of being is the calm. That calm comes from conscious mind. And conscious mind is present moment awareness, which both of you also spoke to. And it's really vital and important. So I always say it starts with spirit, then the spirit is what should be, or conscious mind should be controlling and piloting us, not our mind, which is basically subconscious mind then, equated in neuroscience. So subconscious mind is the repeat programs. And in neuroscience, it's a repeat program. And neuroscience is also saying that we're in repeat programs or subconscious mind 95% of the time. So the reason why it's so important to bring balance and bring calm to our minds is because of the fact that we should be conscious way more than just 5% of the time. Because consciousness also equates to present moment awareness, or that place and space of being where you truly know that there's something larger than yourself, or you can equate it, like I said, or brand it or title it however you want. But it's the fact that when you're in the present moment, that's actually the place where there's endless possibilities in the quantum field, which is quantum physics, which is also just, again, all of these sciences are proving these things. And then you've got the body, and the mind has the ability to tell the body what to do. So that's been proven through therapies like hypnotherapy. So this is how I kind of tie everything together. When I talk about return on investment, I talk about equal exchange of energy. I talk about the people that you want to be partnered with. You both also spoke of relationships and the importance of that. And I pay attention to equal energy exchange, equal time investment, equal. So it's not to the point of giving. It's not about what can I get in return from this person. It's about just that person automatically being that gracious that they're going to willfully want to give in the same capacity in which you are. And look at it from a business perspective as almost like a marketing investment. If I'm going to invest my time in somebody I believe in, then I know that eventually, because that person is going to follow my guidance, or they can't be my client, number one. So they're going to follow my guidance. And when they do, then there's going to be an equal exchange of energy, and that will just come naturally, and that will just come through grace, and it will come with ease. We also talked about emotions and how that can drive markets. And I think that that's really important to remember. So when we're talking about calm mind, we're talking about conscious mind. We spoke about the way to get that is through some form of worship. So people find that through prayer. People can find that by getting out into nature. People can find that, and I highly recommend nature, like as a number one. And worldwide, there's countries who are starting to plant and create more parks and nature opportunities throughout their cities because they have done the research and they now realize, wow, the critical mass importance of that for overall mental health and wellness. And so get into nature. That's the next thing. I also tell people, pay attention to what you're programming yourself with, because this is a quantum computer. It is ours to tell what to do. And you need to pay attention to what you're consuming on a regular basis. So to your point also, you spoke to disrupting, changing, thinking upside down. That's absolutely vital. That's what brings us into conscious moment awareness, is new experiences. Until we are in a conscious state of being, we can't even make a new choice. So if we are in conscious mind, only 5% of our lives, right? And that's what they're saying the averages are for humanity right now, which I don't believe. I think that that's shifting. And I know that that's shifting every single day through things like this and conversations like this even. That is what creates a magnitude of difference in today's world across the globe, is people becoming more in the present moment, more consciously aware. Because when we're consciously aware, we're not pre-thinking either in our interactions with others. We're not thinking, trying to think ahead or caught up in our mind. We're actually listening to people. And that gives us a new perspective. And the new perspectives are what need to happen. That is the disruptor, is a new perspective or a new perception, which you also spoke to. And that is what changes everything. And you cannot have that until you can begin to comprehend how other people's perceptions were formed. It's through their programming. And all of us have been programmed throughout our lifetime, which was also spoken to, or we have done it through education, or it's been our upbringing and the way we're raised. Many things that you're experienced to, including traumas up to this stage in life. But once you awaken and you realize and lock into your belief system, then you can start to pay attention also to your programming. And so choose things that make you feel good. Choose things that you're passionate about. You also spoke to this, both of you, like passions, right? So choose those things, and mindfully, anything that doesn't make you feel like a superhero, like that's not the right programming. Whether that be music, whether that be content that you're reading, it should all be inspirational, all of it. Like anything that you can take in that is going to make you feel like you're ready to knock it out of the ballpark, and that feeds your passions. Your passions are essentially your will, right? And so the other thing that I equate conscious mind to is free will, because it's not until we're consciously aware that we can make a new choice or decision. And the reason why I find it so vitally important in today's world is because we cannot evolve as a humanity, and we cannot change our systems or our programming or anything we've had up to this point until we are consciously aware and we start making new decisions. They say history repeats itself, and this also ties into investing. And it does. History has a tendency to repeat itself because we have a tendency to continue 95% of the time to follow the same programs that we've always been following. So from a social, like a social perspective, our IT is expanding like crazy. Our social systems and understanding these things about how our physical bodies work and how everything is linked, and how science is actually proving that, really is going to be the game changer for us to be able to evolve and start to create some phenomenal change. And change is not meant to be feared. change. If you look at quantum physics, there's endless possibilities in the world. Why can there not be every amazing possibility across the face of the planet for every doom and gloom? And the broadcasting, which is also called programming, right? The broadcasting that happens globally actually creates more fear because it shows primarily the doom and the gloom that's happening in the world. And the other thing I tell people is, do you really think that doesn't mean they're not chasing after all the superheroes? So there's more lives, I guarantee you, saved across the face of this planet and this globe and this world on a daily basis than there are catastrophes, but all we're being programmed with is the catastrophes. And that's just not the case. Like, that's not reality. So everybody wants to say, oh, I have to watch the news because I need reality. Reality is they're not showing all of the miracles happening. And that's just a fact.
Yeah. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I did that on purpose to
Okay, good. To see if we.
Just kidding. I was trying to be a disruptor. So I love disrupting the cycle so we can change our future, right? I love everything that you talked about when it comes to quantum physics, when it comes to finding yourself, right? Who you are, your superhero. So thank you for that. And, I hear superheroes outside because I just heard a ambulance drive by. So those are superheroes.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I do want to share, the fact that all of you have made the time to come here on this show and share your knowledge and to partake in this venture of mine of connecting us, humanity, bringing people together. One of the great books that I've been reading, I know it's a kid's book. I know it's a kid's book, but guess what? It's a book about change, to think differently. And there is another book I'm reading also. Yes, the author happens to be Eric Dunavant. Eric, great book. What if we've been doing it all wrong? Wow. I can just tell you, I am loving your books. Can't wait for the next one. And wow, every one of you is a disruptor. And I love that about each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Well, what I'd like to do now is to introduce our wonderful host of the show, Sifu Rafael. As a martial artist, a fitness professional, mental game coach, Sifu's goal is to impact the world with love and knowledge to as many people who are open to receiving it. We can all change the world. Most importantly, we need to start with ourselves, and then we can help others. He's the host of a unique, one-of-a-kind podcast called Coaching Call, which covers various types of coaching styles, training coaches and trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, business, mindset, relationship, and leadership. And he's created two other shows, one, Heroes Rising, that we're on today, and a newer one called The Sears Show. Heroes Rising is with his co-host, who's not here today, and features a show two coaches 2 times a month. And the Sears Show is bringing the world together from New York and with his co-host in Queensland, Australia, and is on every Tuesday at, well, get this, 4:30 in the morning for us, 6:30 at night for his co-host. So I'd like to turn it over to Sifu Rafael.
Thank you. That was very nice. And, I always have to send a check to EA. Now you want me to send you a check for that introduction?
Absolutely. I
Oh,
was
my
looking forward
goodness.
to that.
Well, yeah, of course you are. Because I pay well. And I really, I am so honored that you guys are here with us. Truly honored. The whole thing, when we think about what we are, who we've become, how we change people's perception, right? If you will. Are we living in the matrix? Are we? Some of us are, aren't we? So today, what I want to talk to you guys about is think about your superpower. What is your, let's find your superpower. All my guests on today's show have found their superpower. Each one of us has a superpower inside of us. How do we develop it? That's the question. So let's dive deep, right? When you were little, what did you enjoy doing? Who did you enjoy being around? Who influenced you? What made you think differently? I had a little kid tell me the other day, and unfortunately, this kid is he's in trouble a lot. He's been stealing. He's been hurting people. But his mother, every time comes, she doesn't say anything to me. And the kid comes in and I'm like, something's not right here. So I'll ask her, and then she starts crying. And I say, talk to me. Allow me to help you. So now she's starting to talk to me because she knows that I'm an ally. I'm not going to lie to her. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and like, oh, he's going to be fine. That's baloney. What's his superpower? He is lost. We need to help this kid find his superpower like you guys did, like we all have. So the thing is, he thinks that he is not normal. And I told him how right he is. He's not normal, but neither am I. And you guys definitely are not normal either, right? So the thing is, find that thing that makes you unique. Find that special feeling. That what makes you stand out. But you don't have to hurt other people to stand out. And this is the message I'm trying to give this young person. He came to me yesterday and he said, Sifu, I just want to tell you, today I had an exceptional day because I didn't get in trouble, I didn't hurt anybody, and I didn't steal. And I said, that's an amazing start. I said, but remember, there's tomorrow. So make today be a reflection of what your tomorrows want to be. So how do we find that superpower inside of each one of us? How do we help a young person find theirs? As adults, I think it is our duty to help those. Maybe they're not, thinking of a superpower above all of us, God, right? Maybe they don't understand scripture, but their parents sometimes are looking for answers. Meanwhile, there's a book out there, it's called the Bible, and there's so many answers there. They even have a children's Bible so they can look at the pictures, right? But find your superpower, and your superpower may be you're a kindergarten teacher. Oh my God, I love kindergarten teachers. You are truly, truly blessing our children. Anybody who impacts a child impacts the world. Your actions today can make a difference in the world. Listen, if you come across somebody who's sad, don't just say, oh, whatever, too bad for them. So, no, make it your job to say, you know what, how can I make their life a tiny little bit better? Even if it's a tiny bit. Maybe that's your superpower. Mother Teresa, one of so many people, was always giving. It was never about her. What's her superpower? Her superpower was love. Love for everyone. Race, religion, didn't matter, right? We have beautiful people. We all know beautiful people. And we also know people, we're not going to call them ugly. We're going to call them troubled, right? So if you will, they may be troubled They don't know that they have a superpower. So let us help them shine that diamond inside of them so that they can shine. What is your superpower? Like I said, when you were a child, what did you enjoy doing? Maybe you did it better than most. That could be your superpower. Maybe you're good at building things. Maybe your Legos, you created stuff more than other people. Maybe you're going to be an engineer. Maybe you're an architect. But remember, every one of those Lego masterpieces started with what? What do you guys tell me? What did that masterpiece of a Lego start with? Eric, what did that start with?
Well, it started with one Lego.
That's right.
One. So here is what I'm going to tell everybody. Let go of your insecurities. Of your insecurities and start building on that one little thing that makes you unique. It might be so tiny, but you build it, because guess what? A Lego is tiny, isn't it? They have bigger Legos, but let's go with the little ones. You start with one little thing. Maybe you don't know what your superpower is. Look for something that you feel a connection with. Maybe it's clay. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe it's a musical instrument. Maybe it's you like to hum. Maybe all of a sudden humming becomes a song. Maybe you become creative. Maybe you like numbers. It does not matter what it is, but build upon that tiny little thing and keep piling on, piling on, piling on. So you become that expert. You become known for that superpower. We all have that superpower.
Mm-hmm.
I want us all to find it. Every one of us. I see, you know what I see you guys right there in my audience, and I see my amazing guests here today. Every one of them is wearing a cape. Now, the problem is your cape may be dirty. You got to clean it. You got to shine it up. Use that superpower. Listen, Eric, you talked about it perfectly. You cannot help someone else unless you help you first, right? You were created in God's image so that you can shine. You shine first. Take care of you. Make you powerful. Build on those building blocks. Let go of your insecurities. Build the foundation. You know, when I was younger, I did interior design architecture, and I still do it. I still do drawings and stuff like that. I did some for Givers University as well. And when we build, it's the foundation that has to be built first. You never build the roof first, do you? I mean, yeah, you might have that image, like, I want the roof to be like this or like that. But without the foundation, you have nothing. Build your foundation. That's where we start with that superpower that you have. It's in you. Be always present, because an opportunity for you to show your superpower is coming. Your time is coming. Eric, Aidela, I want to thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Being connected to me. I am blessed, really blessed to know you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're all amazing.
Great guests today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us on.
So I'd love to get a quick, before we shut this production down, if you will, a quick idea or concept that you may have picked up from today that you would want to even continue with, or something that a little nugget that somebody can walk away with today and go, wow, I'm going to try that. I'm going to start with saying, get some Legos, people.
It's a good thing you didn't start with Lincoln Logs instead of Legos.
Small.
I'll go next. I'd like to say to both our guests, Eric, I enjoyed the faith journey, going down that path with you, and Aidela, I really enjoyed I think you called it the conscious part of us, where about people who like to already anticipate what they want to say so they're not listening, they're anticipating what their answer is already going to be. And I like to stop and listen as opposed to and don't respond right away. So thank you for both of you.
I will give you one thing that's been on my mind lately. I didn't say this, but I want to, just for everyone who's listening, the smallest change you can make is the most important change you can make. Meaning, I emphasize simplicity over complexity. Don't come away from today's call trying to do everything. Go find one small thing you can do.
Yeah.
Great idea.
What do you say, Aidela?
I say, I think I've already tied into the equation everything that these two gentlemen shared on today's program, which I completely concur with everything that's been spoken to. The other thing that I would just add is branch out. If for whatever reason somebody's upbringing or programming did not associate them with the Bible, I would encourage them to find whatever it is the path is going to lead to, that's going to bring them to a higher place of understanding, of light and love, and meditate, pray, do whatever it is that you think is whatever you associate the word with, right? Because it's all one and the same, and just make sure that you really get grounded and into nature and calm your mind and be present as much as you possibly can throughout your day's time, because that is what changes everything.
Great advice, Aidela.
I want to let you guys know that on November 11th is our next Heroes Rising. So we're only going to do one in November and one in December because EA is super busy. But you never know. I might do a pop-up one. I'm going to ask. Maybe I'll ask Eric, my next co-host, on that one. We'll have to talk, or Aidela or Rick, or you guys are all amazing. Any one of you can definitely jump in here with me. But November 11th, we have Gail Doby and Mike Van Pelt, two amazing people who are going to come and share with us as well. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Aidela, Eric, Rick, have an amazing, and as my co-host will always say, Rick,
have your best day ever.
That's it. Enjoy, everybody.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sifu.
Thank you.
You got it. Now,
are we off?
We're almost off, but